This was what we made for Passover as private chefs in Beverly Hills. My client's brisket recipe requires me to heavily salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder the brisket on all sides before letting it sit to really season the inside of the brisket. And I also got ahead on prepping the latkes. Last year's video, I had a good amount of people that were flabbergasted that they ate latkes during Passover when it's considered a Hanukkah thing, but my clients and I think latkes should be eaten as often as possible because they're delicious. I peeled a bunch of potatoes, gave them a rinse, and grated them on the large holes of a grater, and gave them a rinse to get rid of most of the excess potato starch. It's supposed to get them a bit crispier, but to be fair, I've also never done them any other way. I'm curious if you've ever made latkes without rinsing the potatoes, and how do they turn out? Squeezed out all the excess water from the potatoes using a towel while also getting a solid upper body workout. I started off by grating the onions on a grater as well, but it only took a few tears for me to change course, and I used a small manual food processor instead. Blended eggs with some flour, salt, and pepper to bind the latkes and combined all those ingredients together. Now before you get upset, no, my clients do not eat kosher, even on Passover, and this is their own recipe that they handed to me, so please don't blame me. Then, so I wouldn't stink my clients home with the smell of grease, I took my carbon steel pan outside to the grill and fried them out there. Once they were all done, I froze them so I could give them a quick flash fry on the day of Passover. The next day, I got on prepping their brisket recipe, which is the same recipe they've been using for decades. To be honest, when I uploaded the video last year, I was low-key worried that I was going to get backlash for using powdered onion soup and dip mix, but I was very happy to hear that this is what a lot of other Jewish people use in their brisket recipe as well. The brisket braising liquid consists of the onion mix, crushed garlic, honey, ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, mustard powder, a few hits of Tabasco, and hot water to hydrate the onion soup mix. Once again, I used these enamel pans that they've had for decades, filled with tons of sliced onions and carrots, put the brisket on top, poured the sauce over, and into the oven for about 6 hours until the meat basically melts in your mouth. Now, on the day of Passover morning, I came in a little early to scoop off any congealed fat from the brisket. There are 3 reasons why I always like to braise the brisket the day before, and that is 1, makes it much easier to skim off excess fat from the braising liquid. The brisket has time to absorb as much of that sauce, and it also makes slicing the brisket super easy without it falling apart. Threw them back into the sauce and into the oven to gently warm through. I made a concentrated chicken stock the week before that I had frozen, so I melted that down to make matzo ball soup, brunoise a bunch of celery and carrots, while Christian got on to making charoset. I made the matzo ball soup with ground matzo meal, lots of schmaltz, egg, salt and pepper with baking soda and sparkling water. Dropped them into the concentrated chicken stock with onions and carrots, covered and let them cook for an hour. While that was going, I made a ton of matzo crack, which is what they call it, melted down salted butter with brown sugar until bubbly and caramelized, poured over matzo crackers, into the oven until the butter and brown sugar bubbles and turns into a crackly toffee layer, sprinkled chocolate chips, spread when melted, shaved almonds and pecans, and that's matzo crack. I had to make about 20 of these sheets. Christian was in charge of noodle kugel, which is a sweet noodle casserole with a custard base of eggs, sour cream, cream cheese, raisins, and lots of sugar that gets baked. I think this has some kind of a cornflake topping, but I can't remember to be honest. But this is how the final product looked. The guests were arriving, so we of course prepped the signature caviar pie. Once they started eating, we kind of just locked in and filming took a backseat, so I didn't get footage of the matzo ball soup and the crystal turkey bowls. We roasted cauliflower and asparagus, which we hit with a lemony salsa verde, lots of latkes, sour cream, applesauce, and red horseradish, and of course the noodle kugel. Turns out I didn't even film the finished matzo crack.